let's start down that path a little bit more. We'll get up to today and the challenges today. But what were your original first learnings? What were some of the challenges you had when you first got the job, if you can remember? What were some things that were challenging for you that that you had to either learn or work on?
The initial challenges were, first I had to drive 30 minutes to my job because I was still waiting on a different location to open that was closer to my house, and so that took like a month-ish, a little bit over that,
And that was the location you were going to while you were training.
Yes, the location I was going to was about 30 minutes away, but then the location now is about 5 minutes away, 5 to 8 minutes away. But some initial challenges were the management that I had. I was the people that were managing me were also teenagers because I was working night shifts rather than day shifts, and that they were terrible. They were pretty awful. So that was the initial challenge that I had, and so that did stick with me. It was a great example of what not to be. But that was before I knew I wanted to be a manager or was going to be a manager. There were some initial challenges of getting down some of the work things, just getting better at the job initially and things like that. But that always comes with time. But what doesn't come with time is having a better manager. That just it takes time for replacement, but not time for the person to become a better manager, unless they really want to.
So if I was to frame it differently, we could say what's in your control is learning how to make a better sandwich or operating a slicer better or learning how to use the grill or that's in your control.
Yes.
But your manager is your manager, and it's hard to, you can figure out ways to maybe make that a little smoother, but you can't change them. It's a little less in your control.
Very true. Yes.
Okay. So then you moved over to the location closer and continued kind of working there. Mm-hmm. And then at some point you got promoted to shift lead or some kind of management responsibility.
Yeah.
What was that transition like for you?
Well, I liked it a lot better because it came with a little bit of a raise because I was making $750, then it went up to $850, and the raise came to $10 an hour.
So you were making $750 an hour when you started. Now, just to put it in context for everyone listening, starting jobs today for your store would not be $750 an hour, right?
No, they couldn't be.
Because you wouldn't hire anybody because of the market's gotten so tight. So this was just a year and a half ago. You started at $750.
Yeah. And where were we again? You said.
So what did you like about that moving into that manager role? Some of those kind of things you learned.
I had a little more control over the situations, and I could control shifts better, and that was better for kind of how the flow of the store and situations like that. It just made it a little bit better, a bit easier, and I could kind of I didn't have to deal with as many difficulties head on, if that makes sense. I didn't have to deal with kind of just as coworkers. It was a little bit different.
So say a little more about that and help me understand that. When you say you didn't have to deal with it kind of head on, what do you mean?
Meaning that I was able to control situations a little bit better. I didn't have to kind of go to my boss to have a situation controlled for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could have a conversation directly rather than with a little more of authority because you had the manager title or shift lead title versus if you've got a peer that's not working, you have to go kind of tell your manager to make them work.
Yes.